state of emergency. Ibas orders local government to submit 2 years financial reports. The sole administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas, retired, has asked heads of local government area of the 23 councils of the state to submit reports of 2 years' activities of their councils to the government. It was gathered that the directive from the state government has unsettled local governments of the 23 councils in the state following the urgency of the message and the alleged political undertone attached to the directive. Recall that the suspended governor Siminalayi Fubara had, following the Supreme Court's judgment that invalidated the 2024 local government election, directed the head of local government areas of the council to take over the administration of the HLGAs. But Monday, the administrator of the state directed that the local governments to submit to 23 councils to submit reports on the activities of the local government in the last 2 years. The directive was contained in a letter to the head of local government by Dame Dr. Itong Awani, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Local Government Affairs. However, the directive was only made public on Wednesday. The letter read, His Excellency, the sole administrator of Rivers State, has directed that all heads of local government administration should submit the report of their councils to the office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Local Government Affairs. I'm also to inform you that all submissions using the format listed below should reach the office of the undersigned on or before Wednesday, 26 March 2025 for onward transmission to the office of the sole administrator, Government House, Port Harcourt, for further necessary action. The letter directed the head of local government areas to detail the number of staff members in the local governments, the sources of their revenue generation and activities of the councils in the past 2 years, and submit on Wednesday, which was yesterday. We've had a lot of things brewing in Rivers State in the last 2 weeks. I mean, should we say in the last 1 year, but it's gotten rather intense in the last 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on this report?
Yeah, it's very simple. I think that it was God that sent this sole administrator. God sent him in the sense that if you notice the antecedents of the illegal and nullified local government chairman and vis-a-vis their recklessness, and even those who were there as caretakers, some were there as caretakers who also came back as executive chairman. If you notice their activities within this period that the sole administrator had asked for a review, you would understand that these guys were very reckless, were not coordinated, do not know how to manage resources of the local government, and perhaps felt that they had a governor who also was reckless like them and couldn't call them to order. And so if the sole administrator, in his wisdom, had asked these guys, the HLGAs, to submit the activities of the council for 2 years with regards to their source or sources of income, the staff strength, and all that. I think he is doing what I had expected that even the our state governor should have done. You know, if you ask me, I would say that Rivers people are happy for this this information. And I think that every of the HLGA who refuses to do what is right will go in for it. Though these guys were so reckless. Did you see how they were spending money?
But you know they just came in 2024, for at least for most of them.
Some of them acted as caretakers for a very long time, for about 6 months or so, before the election was conducted. And so
when you detail back to 2 years, that also includes tenures that were in there.
No, it is right, but the majority of the time they had spent almost getting to 1 year in office. The election was October 5th, and they were inaugurated October 6th, the next day, you know, and this is March, right. And majority of them spent over 6 months in the office. So you could see that the sole administrator was not even biased. When he said 2 years, it also means that it will also go a bit into the tenure of the the immediate past local government chairman or the former local government chairman. And so what he has done for me is very, very right, and he's apt. And I want to commend him for this step he has taken so far, because this actually will checkmate the excesses of these local government chairmen. They had thought that because they've been elected, whether rightly or wrongly, they can spend the resources of the people illegitimately, because that was what they were doing. Sparing money on the road, buying keke and all that. These things are not what a local government chairman should do. And so this thing that they
when you say buying, you're talking about buying tricycles.
Tricycles, what are they meant for?
Who were they buying it for? Was it for their use?
Most of them just gave it to their cronies. And of course, if you want to do an empowerment program, such things are not empowerment program. You can't actually monitor these guys and actually gain anything from them. There's nothing you can gain from such kind of motives or what's it called? I wouldn't even know what to call them. But those were not empowerment.
We've had certain, like there was a report I discussed a few days ago where people were being handed, tricycles. They were being handed tires, what's it called? Motorcycle tires. Motorcycle tires.
Those are not empowerment. No matter who does that, it doesn't matter who did it. If one gives you a motorcycle tire, what will you do with it?
Well, if you look at it closely, a whole tricycle is better than a motorcycle tire.
You give somebody a tricycle within, as far as he didn't pass through any kind of training or whatever it is, and you give him a keke or a tricycle, within 1 year, less than 1 year, the person will still come back to asking you for another help. That is not an empowerment as far as I'm concerned. There are a lot of means that a local government chairman can empower his people. A lot. Not just by giving, and most of the tricycles they gave to them, if you watch at them very closely, so they were all scrap, second-handed. I wouldn't even use the word fairly used. Second-handed scraps. You could see that part of their bodies were even worn out and repainted and all that. Some of them, as I speak with you, are packed. We've been monitoring them. They're all packed. So those things are not empowerment. Look at what this agency in Ogoni just did a few days ago. What is it called? The Hyper. They picked at least one person, or either two or so, from each local government area in Ogoni, and sent them to where they will learn seafaring. When you finish such kind of trainings, you'll be empowered with a certificate that can earn you job anywhere. These are empowerments. Even if, for example, you want to buy a bus or a taxi for somebody, there should be a training, and there should be a process through which the government or local government begins to do a peer review, begin to watch how these guys are driving and the way they are maintaining this thing. That will also see it to look like being a sustainable empowerment. Just dashing somebody a second-handed keke, how long will you drive it? And you go and pack it. Who maintains it? How do they maintain it? No, there's no way to actually review how these things are being used. What benefit is it bringing to the council? There's no benefit. And so these are not empowerment. Let us even forget about this. That is not even the crux of the matter. These guys, did you see how they were throwing away money? Do you see the kind of bogus lifestyle they were living? Just within a very short period of time. Some of them bought properties over 400 million, 500 million. How did they get the money? I think what the sole administrator has just started doing is very, very important. And I want him to follow it to the letter. Let these guys be investigated. After the HLGAs has submitted their reports, they should be properly investigated.
Now, you know that the Supreme Court has annulled that election.
Yes.
And the governor did say, okay, everybody should hand over and take a back seat for now. Do you think that most of them will be swift enough to come up with this report? Because when was this? This was told them on Tuesday, and they're expected to put out, all of their reports on Wednesday.
Do you even need, as a head of local government administration, do you need to be told before you furnish your office, before you put what are supposed to be kept in place in your office? You don't need to be told. The moment you are handed over files, isn't it? and these files contain the incomes and expenditure of that local government area. So it's a very simple thing. As a head of local government who have been there even prior before the coming of this local government chairman, you should know the staff strength. You see a big job to do. You should know the source or sources, if there are more than one, that the local government uses to generate their revenue. You should know. Now, you should know how much have been expended, because the local government chairman cannot do them in isolation. And even if they did, they handed over a file to you within the period they had stayed in office. And so it's just a simple thing. Put them together in the format they have asked you to do, and print it out and submit. These things are just there in the system. They should be there. It's not you give me that responsibility, in less than 1 hour, I've printed it. You understand? Except you have anything to hide, then you begin to struggle on how to, touch the figures and all that. If you don't have anything to hide, you put them together and submit. And at the end of every month, so amount of money came into the council through federal allocation. Now, so amount of money was generated through IGL, internally generated revenue, even though they don't tell us how much they generated. How much, it doesn't matter how much that was fixed there, you bring it. Now, in the month of January or February or March, as the case may be, we paid so amount of money as salary and wages. We did this as capital or whatever recurring. We did this. All these things are there. You put them together and submit. That's no big deal.
And you think this process, this call for, those financial reports called by Admiral Ibas is a good idea?
I had expected it. If he hadn't done this, I would have queried him. I would have written to him, or perhaps gone to air to say that he doesn't know what he's doing. This is exactly what the people had been expecting, and thank God he came up with this. And I'm very glad that he did that.
All right, thank you.